So I'm just making a video here, so it's kind of hard to see, but I got a pimple right there. It's kind of a dot. You can see, once again, I'm 47 years old. I shouldn't be getting a pimple, but they watch what happens to my face when I disconnect human rapists. Getting the total residual volumes out of my violators. So when I get the total residual volume out of my violators, when you die, your last breath gets the total residual volume out of you. So watch this one. Now give them a stiff penis and stiff perky tits permanently. So the stiff penis and the stiff perky tits is from corpses, right? Of small like babies and infants that have like young kids that have died that didn't start puberty, so they don't have a big penis, so these men can't make their penis. These rapists can't have their penis enhanced, right? So, once again, Canada has a profiling system, sexual profiling system. They have one especially for me. I'll just show you here, and there's gonna be a ghost reading. So right there, my name's Erik Arne Meyer. I'd unregister permanently there. My biology. So Canada measures every single square inch of Canadian surface, but they don't know where I am, Erik Arne Meyer. And you can see I'm blonde hair, blue eyed, and I'm 47, and my hands are right there, and same guy. And then right here, I'll just show you where I stepped. So they hijacked my body and to register me. So you're going to register their entire family right there, and they're all going to be executed. They're going to be the three generation rule, and they will all be executed in the future. So Canada, and when I subpoena the police chief and be like, hey, so do you allow imposters to access your system? And officially they're going to have to say no. They're going to say, no, we don't allow imposters to access their system. So I'm like, okay, well, so do you think it's a national security interest to allow imposters to access the most vital systems on the planet? And then logically they would have to say, no, we don't think that's in national security interest. So since my brain, Erik Arne Meyer, since my subconscious runs the planet and my biological features are unique, why is my, like you hear my voice echo auto-tune there, so why is my biology hacked, and why aren't you following my organic directive? That means my thoughts, my superior directive. They use my mind for strategy for 43 years. And how come, as of December 13th, 2024, when I realized that my subconscious mind was running the planet, how come the Canadian government, how come they stopped following my organic directive, getting the total residual volume out of all these police chiefs? Right, so some of them died because they access and they violate. So you see my face. That was watch my eyes. I'm gonna kill somebody with my mind right now because they're hijacking my body. The first time I did it was I broke their neck with my mind, and it felt like I broke my neck. And then you know what they did? They showed me their gravestone with a mound of dirt in front of their gravestone, like about a week later, and showing that they died basically. And so watch this. I'm gonna watch my eyes. I'm gonna look dazed, like I'm dead in a second. So I just connected people, and they died. They died, these people, because my brain frequency is different than every other human on the planet. So that's my lock. That's my biological lock. No, like, so the Canadian government, are you competent to tell, like, that's why I'm challenging the Canadian government. That's why that screen came up right now. And so for them to allow this lookalike to simulate my biology.
What are you doing? Hello.
What? I'm talking on the phone. Right. So that's pretty strange. Like I'm talking on the phone, and like I'm not allowed to talk on my phone. So anyways, how was he aware of what I was doing on this phone? Was he aware, like showing his family in Africa, turn them off. Right. So as if I'm not allowed to talk on my phone, right? He's a human terrorist of Erik Arne Meyer, right? There's where you live, and with Wi-Fi paper currency, here's your bribe account, doctor.
What is your name again?
Right. What are you doing? What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing to the true king?
You know I'm the true king. I see my thoughts in color. They hack my natural voice. My natural voice gets generational pedophiles. And they don't like that. They don't like that, right? And so one day, when I ask you these questions, because I'm going to challenge the Canadian government, so I'm going to be the small guy. I'm going to come in as the panhandler, and I challenge the Canadian government. But then at the very end of the trial, I'm going to become king of the world. Then when I subpoena you again at your execution trials as king, I'm going to ask you the same questions. So how come you allow people to access the most secure systems on the planet? How is this not against national security interests, Canada? How come you let organized crime and fentanyl dealers to access my system? How can you pretend I'm Mark from Thessalon? I'm not obese, right? I'm not obese. How come I got a pimple on my chin right there? And how come I had a scar on my face? And see how this once again, the screen, when like I'm going to subpoena TCL, the phone manufacturer, and the Android software, and be like, okay, so when you have the camera app, how long is it programmed before it times out? And they're going to be like, okay, whatever it is, just say it's 120 seconds, 5 minutes. It's supposed to time out at a specific time, not when I say something contentious on film. But every one of my videos, whenever I say something contentious on film, that screen pops up. Every single one of my videos. If I was to time it with a stopwatch, which I'm going to do before this trial, and I'm going to show the proof, I'm going to show that it's always inconsistent, and it's always when I say something contentious, when I challenge somebody who thinks they have more power than I do. You know, they have no power over Christian Erik Arne Meyer. You know, the doctor I seen yesterday, he says that I have schizoaffective disorder, which is usually for women, first of all, from 17 to 35. And I anticipated that they were going to use schizophrenia as an excuse at August 29th, 2019. You know, because our thoughts are just sounds that we hear in our head that can be amplified and heard remotely. You know what else could be amplified and heard remotely with sound? The fucking radio. Right? So they could bounce signals off a molar, and then they're able to transmit and receive signals. So our brainwaves are measured in hertz, and the government even knows the frequencies of emotions. How could they know the frequencies of emotions if they don't broadcast these frequencies into people's heads, and if they don't know the frequencies of sound? And how come George Orwell wrote a book called 1984 about the thought police? And Lucille Ball in 1942, she had some dental work done, and then she picked up a radio station that only she could hear in her head. This is all scientific proof. Right. And and once again, in the Charter of Rights, how come they have freedom of thought specifically? Not freedom of words, expression, and beliefs. They do have all that too. But they specifically said freedom of thought because they know that your thoughts should be free. If you don't have privacy over your, once again, this I challenged and indiscriminately, it showed that it timed out at a different time. So far, it's timed out 3 different times since I've been filming this video, and at all different intervals. It should have timed out at specific, like 120 seconds or at 5 minutes of inactivity. It shouldn't have timed out whenever I say something contentious, like freedom of thought. So did the perpetrators, did they just try to hide their culpability by hiding and splicing time when that timed out? My face will drop. Right? So who can make their cheek muscles drop consciously? I want to see somebody consciously drop their cheek muscles. Like right now, I'm trying to consciously drop my cheek muscle. I could drop my eyebrows, but I can't drop my cheek muscle. But when I disconnect human hijackers and kill them with my mind, I could drop them, because you know why my cheek muscles drop? Because they're dead, and then their muscles aren't moving anymore. That's why my cheek muscles drop. Once again, watch when people die. They fucking died. When I said that, because I'm disconnecting and I'm turning off people's brain. Like, watch this one. What's that noise they hear in their head? Turn off that noise. Let's see how I looked like I died. That noise that they heard in their head was their own heart beat. I had them turn off their own heart, right? Because they're human fucking hijackers. They're stupid people. They're generational pedophiles. They've been killing all people that are intelligent. Like the last time I was here, like first of all, like my brother in 1989, 1990, did they just drug me now to try to hide their culpability? Right. So anyways, in 1989, 1990, he's like, hey, but he said that I threw him down a dumpster, which would have happened in 1989, 1990. But there's zero medical proof of this. There was, he would have, we lived on the 4th floor, and I don't know about you, in an apartment dumpster, they're not big enough. They don't make them big enough so people could go down them. If not, people would probably commit suicide down garbage dumpsters all the time, or you'd hear people all the time getting tossed down dumpsters, right? But my brother said that he got tossed down a dumpster, but this African trained, once again, I'm saying something contentious, right? So this African trained doctor didn't like that, so thought he could hack my phone. So in Canada, we have freedom of thought. So how come my phone is being hacked, Canada? Right, my body, they have does Canada spend more than $1 billion to protect Christian Erik Arne Meyer? My face will drop. Right, they spend more than $1 billion to protect my body. So how come they're letting a doctor that's trained in Africa hijack my phone? Right, how come they're doing that, Canada? Right, so how come every time I say something contentious that screen pops up at a random interval, not at a set time? It's a software program. It's like a microwave. But if you time it for 2 minutes, it's going to go off precisely in 2 minutes. So this software program, this app right here, is designed to time out at a certain interval. It's going to time out, and then that screen's going to pop up. But these fucking losers, they're not smart. They never did any software programming but the entire internet is based on my intellectual property. So I'm well aware about TCP protocol and all this stuff. I have proof where it shows that I have bars on the internet, that my phone's connected to the internet. But when I try to upload contentious files to the internet that try to incriminate the Surrey hospital staff, it took me an hour yesterday to upload a 2-minute video to TikTok because of the staff members. So I'm going to litigate and then punitive damages for the stress and anxiety that they cause, right? And one, at first, I'm going to be the small guy, right? So I'm only probably going to get a couple $100,000, but unofficially, I'm worth about $1.5 million a second. So the fact that they made me waste an hour, once I'm king, I'm going to tax their family for that amount of time. Right, every one of you, and once the world sees, there's my aura. My aura is unique to every other human on the planet. Does the Pope, does the head imam and the head rabbi and all head religious figures, do they pray to my body like I'm God? My face will drop. So they pray to me like I'm God. So is my aura unique even to my evolutionary kids and the rest of the human race? My face will drop. So my aura is different than every other human. Once again, I said something contentious, and it went at a different set interval. So did the last pope, did he die, the one from Argentina, did he die because I got pissed off at him and he was using my body to heal his lungs and I stopped him from doing that, and then he died as a result? My face will drop. Right? So you fuck with me, you die. I was house sitting for this guy. He tried to set me up. The ice fell, hit his car, caused over $1,000 of damage against his car, but completely fell around my car. My brother that had the same mother and father as me, he died. He was going to stab me in the back. He was going to let me become king. Then he was going to kill me. So my system that protects me, my artificial intelligence system, quantum computing system, protects me, killed him. Other people did it, initiated it, but it's my system. My artificial intelligence system protects me. It's my system. It protects me. I created it to protect me because I didn't want to be accosted, because they told me as a young boy, I'm going to be the world leader. And I don't want people to walk up and touch me and do all that stuff. And I want to be able to walk in public, and they want me to be able to do this. I don't want to be in a Pope-mobile where I have bulletproof glass and all that stuff. So I have quantum computing to protect me. So nobody's ever going to walk up and stab me or shoot me. First of all, if people weren't restricting me, my skin's bulletproof. Does my skin heal automatically if humans weren't hacking my biology? My face would drop. Did I have wrinkles on my face that I don't have now since I've been in the hospital? My face will drop. So did the Dr. Ogbonna, did he say that my wrinkles disappeared because I'm now hydrated? My face will drop. Is that the worst medical excuse ever, that people's wrinkles disappear because they're hydrated now? My face will drop. He's a fucking idiot. Did he Photoshop his fucking degree from Africa, Botswana? Right, so he simulated his degree. Did somebody call me and say that my doctor isn't even a trained psychiatrist? Did they phone me on the payphone, and did they tell me this information? Right, so I'm not lying about it. So did I send him an email yesterday saying, hey, you have to, I want in writing why you're withholding my medical marijuana that relieves my anxiety, and if you don't respond to this in writing,
Like, well, I said it at first at the beginning. I'm like, well, I want you to respond in writing. And then later on, I said, if you don't respond, this is an admission of guilt. And I bet you he didn't respond to that email because he came to me in person. Right. And it's like, well, I wanted you to respond in writing so I have this proof in court. So whatever you said in person, that's my word against yours. Right. And they say that I have a mental health issue, and they're going to side with the doctor that fabricated his credentials in Canada, because did Canada check Dr. Ogbonna's credential from Botswana? Right. So they didn't even check his credentials. Right. Right. So anyway, so why would somebody call me on a payphone that knew my name? I haven't told anybody my name, my last name. They know my name is Christian. So somebody called and they knew my last name, and they knew where my family was from, Denmark. And I didn't tell anybody this in the hospital. I didn't tell anybody this. And so somebody called, and they're like, hey, yeah, could I speak to so-and-so, Christian? And then my last name. And they're like, all right, are you Christian? And then my last name, and then from Denmark. And I'm like, well, my mom is. And then they're like, well, Dr. Ogbonna is not a trained psychiatrist. Not a real psychiatrist. That's what they told me on the payphone. And I'm sure the Sioux Area Hospital, they probably monitor all the phone calls. So they would have that video evidence, like that audio evidence that somebody said that he's not a trained psychiatrist. Why would they say that? Why would they go out of their way to call and tell me this? A doctor that said, once again, he said that I have psychotic tendencies. So my brother said that I threw him down a dumpster. That would have happened when I was 12 years old. So why did they wait 30 years to say that I had psychotic tendencies? So once again, I said something contentious. So the screen timed out at a random interval. Right? So why would they wait 30 years if I had psychotic tendencies? I'm sure I would have killed somebody in those 30 years because I wasn't medicated for 30 years. Right? So how come I didn't kill somebody for 30 years, never got an assault charge that I was convicted of in 30 years, and but like all of a sudden in 2020, after I posted a video saying that Canada was going to use schizophrenia as a tactic against me, they started to try to say that I was schizophrenic, that I had psychotic and bipolar tendencies. Now they're saying bipolar. And none of my videos, bipolar is like, wow, I'm super happy. Wow, I am happy. And I'm so depressed. I posted many videos online, and I made a song, I made a comedic video. It's like, I don't know, my old doctor used to say to me, right? Because that's how he talks, right? And he has this African accent, but when you talk to him in person, like, you know, he doesn't have a thick accent, but whenever there's a hearing or board meeting, he has the most Africanized accent ever. It's like, you know, a long time ago, he would talk to me, and I had to look at his white colleague and be like, I'm thinking, what the fuck did he just say? I'm just going to smile and nod at this point because I need subtitles. Okay. Did Dr. Ogbonna take advantage of that every single time he talked to me when I was a patient of his getting medicated? Right. I couldn't fucking understand the guy because I don't know what he was saying. Right. And I wrote a song about him called Delicensed under Chris Meyer Diggins. Delicensed. Right. Because that guy. You know, I wrote 3 songs. Well, I wrote 2 songs in here. One called Trip in a Country Song. Then I wrote a reggae song where I found some reggae beats. And then I used my Jamaican voice, man. And then, you know, made a song like that. You know, after I'm like, oh, okay, well, what does a Jamaican voice sound like? I'm gonna go on YouTube, and I seen a white guy that had a Jamaican voice. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna mimic that. So then I mimicked a Jamaican voice for the song, and then I'll play it for you. But you could hear. This is how they sabotaged me. Because it should have easily, every other time I posted a video I re-record over my Mobi Zen, you're able to hear the audio. But as soon as I try to make a song, all of a sudden I couldn't hear the video whatsoever. I just hear sound. So like the music, you could hear the music, but you barely hear the words because they sabotage me. Because like every video, I'll just show you right here. I'll just prove it to you. I'll just go to any video where I'm talking, like this one right here, where it's going to show my scar changing. So there's a scar right there, so you can hear the sound. Right there, a little circle. Where it used to be a line. 42, 86, 49, 64, 26. So you can tell that I said different things in this video. And now I'm going to play this video. Oh, shit. I'm recording, so let's see. I'll do it this way on this app. I'll do it on this one. Shit, how am I going to do this? Because I would have to re-record the whole video that I'm watching right now. Fuck. But, damn. But anyways, like, I'll show you another video where you could see that you could see so many different levels of the Moby Zen, but you could hear me talking over it. Let's see, I have a video, I'm sure I have one that can prove it, because I don't want to re-record, like, because I've been recording for like 20 minutes, right? So I don't want to watch it for 20 minutes, at least 20 minutes. I only have 27 more minutes of, 37 more minutes of phone time. Let's see, I have one. But I should see one that's superimposed with lots of Moby Zens. But here's the song right here.
This is my song, Blessed Up, a reggae song I just made.
So you could hear when I said this is my song, Blessed Up, right? And so you could hear how clear my voice was then. So once again, I recorded over this, so you should have been able to hear my voice. But watch, as soon as the music starts playing, you can't even hear my voice because people at the Syria hospital sabotage me. So you could hear how you couldn't even hear me because they sabotaged me. But I'm going to show proof how other videos that I've recorded over that you could hear the actual, you could hear me twice, basically, clearly. But so I'm just trying to find it here. Because I showed them, like right here, this video here, there's a picture of my mom. She looks identical to the Japanese emperor's mom. And she was born on October 20th. I was born on October 20th. And this girl here, this is Augustus Victoria. She looks identical to my daughter. So let's see, there's one. There must be one soon. Okay, this one right here. You can see many different Moby Zens. There's a Moby Zen. So you can see how there's going to be multiple different Moby Zens. You can see all the Moby Zens right here. On the side here, I have 3 different Moby Zens. So that means I screen recorded 3 different times. And now you can hear me talking over this. And I'm going to try to, shit, I can't do it again. But you can hear me talking. It's right here, especially right here. So that's funny because they try to prove me wrong in this video, so I couldn't hear over it. But I did post this video online where I could hear it. Right, so they try to disprove me by making so you couldn't hear my voice in that video. But I did post that online. It's on TikTok. I'll try to find it for you. But I posted that video on TikTok, and you can see, you'll be able to hear my voice in both of them on TikTok. But they didn't want me to be able to record a song by myself without So basically what I did was in Toronto, I made a song called Alone at Last. I went to the Toronto Reference Library, and I found some free hip-hop beats. So I did the same thing. I found some free beats for the reggae songs, and then I did it, but I'll play the video where it shows. Here it is, right here. You're gonna hear my voice in this. So you could clearly hear it, right? So it wouldn't have been a distorted video. It wouldn't have been the best quality. Wouldn't have been the best quality video, but I should have been able to make that song. They want me to have. They wanted me to do it in the activity room, so they can make sounds, and they try to be in videos. That's all they try to do, people. So because you could clearly hear me speaking, and then and so then you could hear the TV, which it was picking up the TV more than my voice. But just like I have on one of my old YouTube accounts, I have an asylum evidence video that's private, and then dubbing. So when dubbing is when you speak, your lips and your words are synchronized. Right, so my private video, the synchronization is perfect, but then I have a couple public asylum evidence videos where I'm speaking, I'd say words like that, and then 4 seconds later you'd see my lips move, right? So the dubbing and synchronization was off, but only for the videos that said asylum evidence on my YouTube profile. And it's not like I used a different software app, only for the ones that said asylum evidence. And I'm like, okay, well, asylum evidence, and the doctor's like, well, we won't give him smoke breaks because he's going to flee the country. It's like, oh, wow, did you look how old those asylum evidence videos were? How come I didn't leave the country in the meantime? The guy's a prick. I've been a patient of his for now over 2 months, and he hasn't given me smoke breaks. This guy named Andrew, his last name, he's really, sounds like a guy named Stanley Tucci. And so anyways, he left on a smoke break, and then he left. He went 40 kilometers, and they found him. They brought him back to the hospital. They gave him smoke breaks after that. So he was a flight risk, clearly, because he left the hospital once, and they gave him smoke breaks. But they've yet to give me a smoke break since May 5th, 2025. And it's June 11th, 2025. And I had a prescription in the past, before marijuana was legalized, for medical marijuana. So once I get out of the hospital, because my next hearing, I got to show them video proof. So the first time I had a hearing, I was only able to say things. I wasn't able to show them I sent them an email, and I showed them a surgical scar, the whole length of my penis. You can see the scar down the whole length of my penis. That they reduced the girth at the top of my penis and the bottom of my penis. So why did they do this when they circumcised me? When they circumcise you, they just say, here's your penis. You have a bunch of skin over the tip of your penis, and then they remove the skin to reveal the tip of your penis. But for me, they shaped and augmented my penis. Why did they do this? Why? I have a scar. Most people don't have a surgical scar the entire length of their penis. Why did they augment my penis? Right. And once again, my mom was born on a trip in the States. So she was born in the States, but she was from Denmark. My dad was born in England. So my parents weren't even born in the same country. And I was told that I had Germanic DNA. So when I did my DNA test, I thought I would see Denmark, United Kingdom, and Germany on my DNA. And I'll show you my DNA profile right now. And it covers the entire planet because I'm the true king. I'm the true king. And the doctor, they didn't listen to this evidence. I'm like, hey, my parents I have an evidence of a royal invitation that my parents went to a royal ball, because my dad had servants, his dad had servants, my grandmother's mom owned a hotel. So I had nobility on both sides of my family, and they partied with royal people. They partied with the royals. Like here's Prince Philip. This is officially King Charles's dad. Here's me at 19. Right, so there's Prince Philip, King Charles's dad officially, and then there's me. And here's Nicholas II, a Russian Tsar. There's me. Look at our eyes. Look at our eyes. That looks like me, but I'm bald. Right, the guy's bald. Right, and here's George VI. That looks like me, my twin. His son Edward VIII looks like my twin. Here's a statue of Jesus. It looks like my twin. You know why? Because the royal church, Christianity has been breeding the Jesus line, because the Da Vinci Code, they made a movie about the Da Vinci Code. They said that Jesus had a kid with Mary Magdalene. They did, and I'm a result of it. I'm the main line. A lot of people are related. I have 3 billion relatives, right? But anyways, here's a guy that looks just like my dad and me, and Captain James Cook, descendant on Cook Islands. Officially, Captain James Cook had 6 kids, and none of them survived to adulthood. But this guy looks like my dad, looks like me. And here's my dad when he was a young man. And he looks like Mark Antony. Right, and here's the last German emperor that looks like me and my mom. And his dad looks like my dad. His wife, or his mother, looks like my daughter when she was a kid. Okay, so once again, this is King Charles at 19. This is King Charles at 19. And officially, that's his dad at 19. And this is me at 19. So who looks more like King Charles's dad? King Charles? King Charles? me, and then his dad. Who looks more like King Charles's dad? I do. You know why? Because King Charles's dad is my third cousin, and King Charles and Prince Philip is King Charles's fourth cousin. And here's subliminal that Canada puts into sidewalks. This is a subliminal of my face. This was supposed to unregister me then. This shows that I control the system. That's my face. And here's a subliminal that was in an ashtray. Those are ashes in an ashtray. I should have a different one here. And here's a scar that I have on my hand. So right there, you can see how I don't have a white part to the scar that I do currently have on my hand. And it looks like a 20, a 2, and a 5, and it also looks like a spider. I did that intentionally. I augmented the scar with my mind. And I'll show you the scar on my hand right now, how it looks different than that. And this has changed since I've been in the hospital. All these things had to change when I was in the hospital, so they couldn't say that I paid for this technology. You can see how I have a white spot, like a white line, at the bottom of the scar that I didn't have in that picture. And I have a scar on missing a scar on my cheek. Right there, you can see the scar. I have a circle scar on my cheek that I currently don't have. I don't have that scar on my cheek right now. So I have a scar that disappeared while I've been hospitalized. How's that possible? You know, and I'll show you my DNA map. I'll show you my DNA map in a second here. I'll show you my DNA map. So here's the royal invitation. So the doctor's like, oh, he suffers from grandiose beliefs. He thinks he's a royal. So right there it said Campbell, right? And it says Princess and it says Louise. This is from the August 28th, 1894, I believe. And on the back of it, it said Colin Campbell. So when I Google searched, this was Field Marshal Colin Campbell. He looks like me. He looks like my mom's brother, and he looks like my dad. He was born October 20th. I was born October 20th. My mom's brother's son was born August 14th. Colin Campbell died August 14th. My mom died August 13th. And here is Prince Ludwig of Bavaria. Once again, he looks like my mother's brother, and this looks like my mother's sister. They were husband and wife. And here's Augusta Victoria, Queen Victoria's oldest daughter. And here's my daughter. They look like twins. They look like twins. So Augusta Victoria, and here is Augusta Victoria's husband, Frederick III, who looks identical to my dad, a twin of my dad. And his son was this guy that looks just like me and my mom. So that's William II. So my parents look like the last two German emperors. My daughter looks like a German empress. And here's my DNA map. Once again, I thought I should have seen Denmark, Germany, and England on my map. I shouldn't have seen North America, South America, Africa, Asia, Oceania, Europe. Everything but the white area. Everything but the white area I'm not related to. And when I search, there's a same, like if you go to Chris Meyer Diggins, sample DNA versus mine, it shows that every single human has numbers in these columns but me and my kids. And these are end loops on the telomeres. And so these are the king's DNA, emperors and empress is DNA. That's the DNA everybody wants. And if I was to ask a geneticist, so once I sue Canada, I'm going to subpoena a geneticist, be like, okay, so what do telomeres do on somebody's DNA? They're going to be like, well, telomeres control how well somebody ages. Okay, well, how come I don't have end loops on my telomeres? Does that mean I should age fast or slowly? Right? They're going to say, well, you should age remarkably well. So I'll show you. This is how Canada uses biological warfare on me. Look at the wrinkles under my eyes. And you look at my eye, that looks like nanotechnology, machine technology. And so look at my eyes. And then once again, this was January 2nd, 2025. And I don't have those wrinkles under my eyes because they're starting to cause this one right here, a little bit here. And that's only within the last week because they gave me an open sore. And I made a video. And the excuse from the doctor is like, oh, your feet are dry. You know what? I Google searched yesterday. How come in Africa, most kids don't wear shoes where they walk on dirt? So their feet would be really dry. How come they don't have cracked feet? How come I have evolved human biology that heals instantly? And how come it hasn't healed instantly? How come they're stopping it? And how come I have a crack in the thickest part of my callus on my foot? So is it because they want to, like, I'm going to sabotage this. So do they make me have cracks on my feet to hide Mark from Thessalon's rape culpability in my Facebook job? So do they have me have cracks on my feet so I have to walk differently because it hurts to walk, and they're able to sabotage me in the subliminal system that would be verifiable with a Gauss meter in my Facebook job? Right, so Canada, you're going to be fucked over. What do you think I'm going to do in court? I'm going to be like, okay, exhibit Gauss meter. And I'm going to pull out a brand new Gauss meter out of a box. I'm going to open up the box. It's going to be sealed in plastic. And then I'm going to put in the batteries. And then I'm going to test the fucking software. I'm going to test the Gauss meter at the fucking defendant's table, the Crown Attorney's table, all the fucking judge's table. Well, I can't go up to the judge's bench, but it would have a Gauss meter too. His gavel is going to indicate whether or not he set somebody up or not. Right, and our judge is shocked. Watch my face. Wow. They didn't like that. And with Wi-Fi paper currency revealing all the judges' bribes in Canada regarding Christian Erik Arne Meyer, or my daughter Kaylee Jordan Meyer, or my son Chase Alexander Barry Meyer. Right, we're the three people with evolutionary DNA, and we've been victimized the most. What are the chances that the three most desirable people on the planet are like predators and not victimized? Unfucking likely. Remember, I had proof in court. I'm going to show them proof of my penis scar, my circumcision scar, that it shows them that my penis was augmented. So I'll just show you some more proof here. So this was January 2nd, 2025. And here, right there, it shows a bone that I have in my foot. I'll show you some other stuff here. So here's some of the technology that this is. You could Google search this. This is patent number US 9186071B2. And this is the different biosensors that they could put in people. They could put in a sensor to see what your glucose is doing. Now, contact like in nanotechnology now, to see what your visions do, your hearing's doing, your blood pressure, your ECG, EEG. So see what your heart's doing, your brain's doing. And it could all be monitored over a cell phone. It says it's a medical data. Right? And you can see by the cell phone, it has an antenna. So it's an old cell phone. It's older than 2007. Because smartphones came out in 2007. Phones stopped having antenna in about 2007. So here is what typical back muscles look like. You can see those indentations in those back muscles. Here's what my back muscles look like. And you can see them that, they're making it click out here. So getting all the perpetrators right there. But you can see I don't have any indentations in my back muscles. And once again, this guy has indentations in his back muscles. I don't have any indentations in my back muscles because I have evolved human biology. And look at my map. Once again, this is my DNA map, and it covers the entire planet. And then this is Edward the VIII. He looks like my twin. He looks like my friggin' twin. When I was younger, I'll show you a picture when I was younger here, like this. He looks like my twin. So once again, there's there, and then Edward the VIII. He looks like my twin. And his dad looks like my twin. And George V, he looked identical to me as a boy. When he has a beard, it's hard to say because he has a beard, and my beard, they made my beard. As soon as I was able to grow a beard, they made my beard. As soon as I decided to grow a beard at 40, they made my beard gray. And I have no end loops on my telomeres. So in Canada, there's a freedom of thought. And in the Charter of Rights. And here's proof right there. It says computer-assisted telepathy. If you were to Google search computer-assisted telepathy YouTube, it shows this video, 8-minute video, where they're able to implant thoughts into people's brains. And so in the Charter of Rights, it says freedom of thought as part of a 3-part freedom of expression and consciousness. So that means they were well aware that computer-assisted telepathy was possible. And George Orwell, the dystopian novel in 1984, The Thought Police, right? So he wrote that book in 1949. So people have been listening to your thoughts since the 1940s, at least, right? And so even before that, because a guy named Frederick Myers coined the term telepathy in 1882. His last name is Myers. My last name is Meyer. No coincidence. So this individual is able to communicate over a computer, and it shows implants. But with nanotechnology, you don't need implants. It's all wireless now. You could breathe it in, and it could be installed looking at screens. You don't have to do anything. Oh, so here, there's basically 3 different male body types on the planet. So here's generation 1. Here's my son's back muscles, which are different than generation 1's. You can see he doesn't have those indentations. He has a mass, like my son has a massive gorgeous back. Look at how sexy he is. If I was a woman, I'd want to mate with my son. You should too, because I'm not going to mate with women for a long time. So they should want to mate with my son. Look at how, if I was a guy, he has a better back than me, I think. Like, look at how muscular he is. He's like super tough. He picks me up and I feel like I'm a feather to him. Like he just picks me up like I'm nothing. And here's my back muscle, which is different. Right, so there's 3 different male body types on the planet. So there's generation 1, generation 1.5, and generation 2. 3 different back muscles. But my daughter would have a different biology than I showed the doctor here. So once again, I'll show you some proof here. So there's subliminal, all this stuff, some more proof, screenshots. I just gotta find them here. So before I was born, here we go. I've got to put this in there. So Stephanie Meyer. So how come I can't transfer this? There we go. So Stephanie Meyer wrote a book about parasitic aliens. So I'm complaining about parasitic humans, and you can see she has the exact same spelling as my name. They made me find this. When I Google search my name, Christian Meyer, the first thing I seen was Stephanie Meyer and the host about a post-apocalyptic time being invaded by a parasitic alien race. I'm complaining about parasitic humans. And I'll show you proof. I'm just going to pause it here until I find it, because I've made lots of screenshots. But I won't pause it actually. But here we go. This is probably this one. Oh, so this is schizophrenia. Usually begins in the late teens or early 20s. They waited till I was 42 to say that I have schizophrenia after I posted a video online, suspiciously enough. And then they say schizoaffective disorder, which usually only affects women, because they're trying to hide one of the janitor staff at the hospital. So he changed his diagnosis from 5 years ago. That's how competent he is. He's a fucking moron, the doctor. Because he simulated his degree, more than likely. So here we go. Here's some more subliminal evidence. And you can see, I'll just show you here as I go to it. I'll show you in a second here. Okay, so I'm trying to find something. Oh, this is not screenshots. So I guess it's before then. So here's a black version of me. Here's an Asian version of me. Here's a guy that looks identical to me, some kings. Here's the Art of War guy that looks like me. Here's the Jordanian king that looks like me. These are all current kings that I showed. And here's a German emperor. Here's my grandfather. German emperor, my grandfather. Here's a Saudi Arabian king that looks like me. Here's Emperor Meiji that looks like me. Here's Allah that looks like me and my dad. Once again, here's another picture of Edward VIII that looks just like me. I guess I haven't showed that. Here's my unique pectoral muscles that nobody has, those ridges like I do. Or the sun tattoo like I do, crooked like that. So let's see, I'm trying to find... Well, I did show it in other videos, but anyways, here we go. Here's the Seattle Seahawks, where it's basically hidden in plain sight. In high school, my name was Meyer Diggins, so people called me Diggs or Myers, right? So there's a Jason Myers, there's Quandre Diggs, there's a Brit, there's a King on the team, there's a Neil, right? So Neil to the Brit King, who's Christian Erik Arne Meyer. Right, so in plain sight. So here's a frequency. This is they know different frequencies. So this gun, they could implant thoughts in your brain. This one, they could broadcast heat in your brain to make you non-lethal ways to make you retreat. So Canada. Oh, here we go. Here's some Indians that look like my twins. Here's Michelangelo that looks like my twin that made the Sistine Chapel. Here's Haile Selassie that looks like me. Everybody looks like me. Because they made sure that everybody would look like it. Here's some South Korean leaders that look like me. They made sure everybody would look like me so they wouldn't want to kill me. Here you can see a subliminal face. This was an explosion, a SpaceX explosion, but you can see a subliminal in the explosion. That's the mayhem. This is when I was suspicious about my urine, so I peed in a bottle, and then at the end of, at the bottom of the bottle, there was all this nanotechnology that was left in my urine. I have 2 bottles stashed in Toronto of my urine. Okay, so where did it go? So anyways, it's been unseasonably cold in Canada in May and June because I'm in the hospital, and I caused a polar vortex. I'll just show you. There's a polar vortex in Canada because I control the weather machine. There's I have video proof on my Erik Arne Meyer, Chris Meyer Diggins YouTube channel. It's Chris Meyer Diggins YouTube channel, and it shows a polar vortex. I have a grid system where it looks like a ruler, segmented like a ruler, so you could gauge speed. So it shows clouds going across from right to left, and then I'm like, as soon as I put on my hand, the clouds are going to slow down, and sure enough, it does. And I should prove it on film, basically. So this is with that, I can show you that there's a polar vortex in Canada, meaning that it's unseasonably cold because I'm making it cold because they're making me be in the hospital when it's warm, right? So there's a polar vortex right there that's making it cold because why would I make people warm in June when they're making me stay in a fucking hospital? I slept outside. I spent almost 100% of my time outside from September till May, and they would freeze me and burn me at the same time. I'd sleep on a vent, and then, so I'll just search it again here. So Canada's Olympic standings in 1976, the year before I was born, 1976, they were 27th. So they were the 27th position. They boycotted the 1980 Olympics because it was in Moscow. So let's see, Canada's Olympics. So big stand-in 1984. I was 7 years old, and I'm complaining about parasitic humans, and they were 6th in the medal standings. America went from 3rd in the world to 1st in the world because I avoid my biology as well. Connor McDavid, I call him Connor McDonkey. Last year in the Stanley Cup Finals, Game 7. Game 7, the biggest game of his life. Like, if you're a hockey player, if I was playing hockey, every single time I skated, I'd be pretending that I was in Game 7, and I either needed to score the game-winning goal or the game-tying goal every single time I was on the ice. And I had less than 6 hours of practice on skating with a puck on ice, and I was able to hit puck marks off the boards because of psychology and strategy. You know, Drew Bledsoe told me basically, if you use the inside of your shoulder, it makes you an accurate passer. So ever since then, I've been accurate at any sport. Like, I'd be phenomenal at tennis, basketball, like in hockey, soccer, I'd be completely accurate at every sport because of that strategy. I took that psychology and then I just implemented it and came out with a new strategy. Like, what I did was when I started, first of all, I played a game as a kid, a stock game. And this is how, they made the world so soft. Nowadays, the world's soft. But when I was 15, this is how video games were. Like, at first, I tried out the game, the stock game. It's like, you suck. Don't quit your day job. It told you that you suck. Nowadays, if you told a kid that they suck, they would start crying. There'd be the SWAT police. There would have to be some sort of psychological rehab. The kid would be on medication just for being told that they suck. But when I was a kid, they told you that you sucked if you sucked. They told you that you sucked. You didn't even, there might have been a participation medal, but nobody kept the participation medal. It was either you got bronze, silver, or gold. Nothing fucking else mattered. I won 4th place in a karate tournament. I fucking basically threw the medal away. I threw it away. 4th place doesn't mean a fucking thing. It wasn't a podium fucking finish, if you get my drift, right? I got ripped off. I kicked this kid. I just made contact with I was in 2 karate tournaments. The first one I got disqualified for excessive force. The guy ended up winning. And because I'm like, oh, okay, I've never seen it, right? Because unfortunately, I was at the right level. Just say that my hand was the level. I was exactly that height. So I could have against younger guys or against older guys. And it was my first tournament, so I decided to go against younger guys, right? I shouldn't have did that because I was 13, but I was in an adult class, so I was sparring against men or women all the time, right? And then all of a sudden I'm competing against kids, so no wonder I dominated them, right? Because I was used to competing against men in class. I'd spar against men. And then, so I got disqualified for excessive force. Then I went to this tournament in Sudbury. There was 50 people, and I won a couple matches, and then I sidekicked this guy. He went flying, knocked over the judge's table. I didn't even try to hit him hard. I just made contact. I just made the motion. Like a sidekick, you just make your feet go like that, and then poof. So you kind of go like this, and then poof. Right, so that's all I did. The guy went, right? He went flying like that, and then, so it's like, oh, wow. So there's 5 judges, and then after that, the center judge never gave me a point. So I'd be up two, you had to get 3 points in the system. I'd be up 2 points to nothing, and then I'd get like 5 points in the center, like 2 judges would be like point. The center judge never gave me a point, right? So then they would beat me by hitting me on the head. They get 3 points eventually, hitting me on the head. So I lost like 3 matches like that. So I came 4th. Instead of winning a 6-foot trophy, I ended up with a fucking medal. I donated it to the YMCA. Like it didn't fucking mean a thing, right? Because it wasn't a 6-foot trophy. Got ripped off a 6-foot trophy. If I won that 6-foot trophy, I would have competed for the Canadian Olympic team. Like that was the difference. I would have just been focused. I just would have had tunnel vision and just been determined, like I'm going to win a fucking gold for Canada, right? But they ripped me off, so I never won a gold for Canada. And then I had, well, once again, I showed you I looked at 19, right? These were headshots when I was 19, right? So I had model type looks, and when I looked like this, if I was walking down the street and there was a girl holding a hand with a guy, they always let go of the guy's hand, and then she would slowly start walking behind the guy and start looking at me 100% of the time. Like I'd be walking down the street and I'd look across the street and I'd see women looking at me. Like even my brother had got baptized, I'm sitting there praying and I could feel the ultra girl looking at me. So, and she was this gorgeous German girl, and I was so stupid. I was like 19 at the time, right? And I wouldn't even take a subway to go meet this gorgeous woman, this German. She was beautiful. Like I regret it now, but like now I travel across the fucking universe for a soulmate. But fucking at 19, I wouldn't even catch a subway. Like, because we lived at like Bathurst in St. Clair, and she lived like in Scarborough. I wouldn't even catch a 40-minute fucking subway to fucking visit her. Right, like that's how stupid I was, then. But anyways, so if I would have won the 6-foot trophy, and I had those model looks, I would have did the Van Damme thing. I would have tried to go to California because I lived in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario at the time. So I dated this American woman, and we were going to get married or whatever. So I would have just married her, and we would have moved to California, and I would have just try to become an action movie star basically. With my legs, because I could jump kick an 8-foot ceiling, and I tried getting on People Are Awesome, and I had a boxing bag that was 6 feet high, like so about this height. I put a hat on it, and I could come down, I could kick the hat down, kick it up, and then make the hat land on my head. It was the coolest trick that I've ever seen. That for People Are Awesome. Other than Damian Walters, he did do a flip where he did a backflip. Like at one point, I thought he was the best athlete on the planet. But he did a flip, and there's a hat. He put the hat on his head and then did a flip over a table. It was gorgeous, fantastic trick. Like parkour athletes are some of the best athletes on the planet. Like once I'm officially king up, I'm gonna make parkour people make a lot of money, and UFC fighters, they're gonna make more money than boxers, right? Like boxers, they're using 2 hands. Like, a UFC fighter, they're using their hands, their elbows, their knees, their feet, and everything. Like, they don't really do it, but if I was in the UFC, I'd be even using my chin. Like, when I used to, wrestle, I would, drive my chin in between their rib cage to cause pain, right? Because to break their will, you gotta break their will. Right, my brother had a big mouth, so in grade 9, every day after school, somebody would be like, well, if he wasn't your brother, I'd kick his ass. So then my dad made me for a year. He's like, well, you got to toughen them up. So every day for a year, I would toughen out my brother. Like, again, I didn't want to, but I just kind of did what I was told, right? My dad said, wrestle him, beat him up a bit, and don't make him cry, but beat him up, right? So I did that every day for a year. So I'd make him almost cry. Like, I just had pressure in his arm, and he's like, as soon as he's like, let's cry, then I stop, and then it's just, right? So I made him fucking super tough, because it turns out I'm the toughest guy on the planet, right? And he could handle it. And so I'd make it so he'd almost cry, and then I'd switch positions, and then just kept on doing this, like, for about an hour every day, because my dad told me to, right? I didn't want to. He was my brother, right? At one point, we were best friends. But, he's passed away now. It's unfortunate. But he would have stabbed me in the back, because, I'm going to be true king. And the thing about, that's why they make movies about the Game of Thrones, right? When, everything's all fun and games until you're about to become a king, then it becomes a sport, then everybody wants to fucking kill you. Then they want to say, even though you could adjust the testosterone or estrogen in your brain, they say that you have a chemical imbalance. But this proves, once again, that I could adjust the testosterone or estrogen in my brain, that it's impossible for me to have a chemical imbalance. Right? If I were to, that would mean every fucking human on the planet would. Fuck you, Canada. So that's why on my TikTok, it's FA-Q. You know what that says? Fuck you, Canada.